Hi folks, today we are playing a fantasy session using Delves and Dangers by Chad Ries, and this just came out, and I'll tell you all about it right after the intro. Hi folks, and welcome to Sharp Mountain Games. Here we talk about group role-playing games, solo role-playing games, and there are plenty of actual plays in the playlist. You can check out our print and PDF products at Amazon, Lulu, Drive-Thru, and Roll20, and they're all linked below. Let's get started, and we're glad you're here. So today's session is going to be played using Delves and Dangers by Chad Ries. Now, he's also on YouTube as Mage Hammer, and I have the link down below, of course, to his channel, and I have the link to his game. Now, Delves and Dangers has been around a bit, I don't know how long, but it's been available in digital on itch.io for a good while, and it's now available in print. And in print, you can get it on Amazon, of course, through their KDP print on demand, which is good, especially if you're in Europe or somewhere where you don't want to pay, extra shipping from the U.S. It's 35 pages, and it is a fairly complete fantasy role-playing game. So if you remember the old kind of books where you'd have a little slim rule book and it had everything, and this does too. Now, how is it different, and why is it different than the game or other perhaps OSR-style games? Is that it only uses D6s, and you build a dice pool. And 3 through 6 is a success, and then there's a difficulty numbers that you're trying to hit. And I have a little cheat sheet here, a little cheat card where I wrote some things down to remind myself. So if you like rolling a lot of dice, a lot of dice, a boatload, this is a game for you. So it is very fun in that way, and 6s explode. So you can really get high numbers sometimes with things, depending on how your rolls go. So I'm going to put this aside, especially I want to open it to the spell pages because, those are things, of course, I can't remember too well on my own. Let's take a look at that. So, yep, I'm putting that off to the side, and I want to introduce you to the characters. Now, I made up some cards. He does have a character sheet that you can use. Might be a little bright, a little hard to see here because I wrote these in pencil. But what I tried to do was write down all the numbers that I would need. So for like a short sword attack, I try to figure all that out in advance, just to make it a little easier while I'm taping here or recording. But you could do it any way you want. And if you're coming from something like 5E, where you're used to proficiency bonuses and things like that, you'll feel very, very comfortable. Like I said, really the main difference there between this and the game a little bit is the fact that you're using all these skill dice. Now, it's very class-based, so you're playing a warrior or a wizard or a thief or something like that. So, again, I think it was designed to be a lighter, and from talking with Chad, because he's a friend of the channel. Now, I did buy this. I would say I did buy the book myself with my own money, so it wasn't a review copy. So, why don't we get started here so we're not just listening to me blab? And I'll, remind you at the end. And the link to Delves and Dangers on Amazon is down below. So our 3 heroes are Wayne, who is a warrior, and they're all 2nd level. I wanted to give them just a little bit of a bump here. His halfling thief companion, Dickinson, and the wizard who travels with them, Steven. And they have come to the village here. And this is, I think, as good a village map as any. And they are going to visit the house of Sunday Romer. Now, Sunday at this point in his career is a retired adventurer and actually quite wealthy. He made a lot of money offshore when he was out adventuring. And he has hired them before for other tasks. So he has something that he needs to talk with them about them, or to them rather, I should say, today. So they enter, and Wayne is kind of the leader of the group here, although Steven is an adult certainly too as well. So I have the blue, Steven is the red, and Dickinson is the orange. I didn't make special tokens for them for this session. So they enter, and Sunday Romer is I'm so glad to see you, gentlemen. I'm so glad you're back here. We're going to be working together again. And Wayne says, well, we came from the city as soon as we could. Sunday lives a little bit outside, maybe in a smaller village outside of, a little bit of ways from the city. I'm thinking more like maybe not quite Hobbiton, but somewhere between Hobbiton and Bree. We're not in Middle Earth, but that sort of area, farming area. And Steven says, yes, what did you need us for? Dickinson kind of looks around the place. Now, he wouldn't steal from Sunday Romer. He's more of an adventurer than a thief. He's maybe a little bit reformed. And Sunday says, yes, well, I want you to go to the north of town. There's farmers out there, and just past their farms, there was a meteor or a fallen star. Something fell from the sky. And some of the farmers have said that and the hunters have seen something out in the woods. So I'm hoping that you can investigate it. And certainly if there's anything unusual or interesting where this starfall was, you absolutely could bring it back here. And Wayne says, well, you're financing this, right? And Sunday says, I'm good for it. You know that I'm good for it. And Wayne doesn't dicker on this case. They have worked together before. He has no doubt that Sunday's money is good. And he's not not necessarily looking to get rich, but he's looking, he has to pay the bills too. So Wayne says, oh, well, that would certainly be all right. He says, do you have a map or some general direction? And Sunday says, oh, yes, of course. He said, now that I'm retired, I guess I should have a little desk or a table here for him. He pulls out the map that he's drawn. He says, now this will show you the general area. And he points on the map and he says, and I think the starfall was up here somewhere. So probably take you a day to get up to that area. It is a few miles outside of town. I'd say take maybe a day and a half or so to get to where the starfall is. So you'll want to bring your provisions, and your camping gear, because you'll need to at least do one overnight in the forest. And Steven says, oh, well, that sounds good. That we certainly would get on the way right away. So they take their leave of Sunday because we're going to get things rolling here. There's not a whole lot else that they can do. Before they leave, Dickinson asks, well, do you have any idea of what this monster or whatever they were seeing was? And Sunday says, no, all I know is it's very big and it's very unusual. They said, like silvery or copper or something. People have just run in fright from it. It's just such an unusual thing for this area. And Dickinson says, oh, maybe I'm sorry that I asked. So they go and they get what provisions they need, and they are going to head out on the road. And let's get, I may flip this map eventually too, but maybe this will work. Is this going to work here? I think it's stable enough, hopefully. So this will be our road map here. We'll leave the village there in case we get back to it at the end of this session. This may run 2 sessions, I'm not sure. Or I may do 2 shorter sessions. So they make their way up, and they do try to talk to some of the farmers, of course, along the way, and, see what's going on, or if the farmers know anything. Move some things around so we can see the map and the dice here. And when they get to their, about a day's walk, they decide they do have to camp for the night. And I would say they make a small fire. I'd say it's autumn, so they're going to need something to help keep them a little bit warm. But they're trying not to attract too much attention, of course. And Steven says to Wayne, are we trying not to attract attention? Maybe we do want to attract the thing and see what happens. And Wayne says, well, I don't know. I'm not sure about all that. But we'll set a staggered watch for the night, and hopefully that will be good. And then we'll head out again in the morning. So they take their watches during the night, and let's see if this encounter happens at night or if there's going to have something happen tomorrow. Now, I didn't, sometimes when you solo play, you roll things randomly. This one, I just kind of have an idea roughly what I want to do because I'm not going totally random because I do want to showcase some of the things in the system here. So I thought of some things beforehand to do this, but still I could lose a character. Somebody could die. I don't know. So there is, I think, hopefully still some randomness. So 1, 2, 3, the thing happens at night. 3, something happens here at night. And let's see whose watch it happens on. So I'll use my three-sided die or 1 to 3 die. 1. So it is going to happen on Steven's watch. And the other 2 are in their blankets, and he is keeping watch over the whole thing. He is the wizard, so we'll see how that goes. He hears rustling in the woods, you know, more so than like a deer or something. So, quick, wake up, he says. There's something else in the woods here. And Dickinson says, well, let me try and sneak up here. So he rolls 6 dice for his stealth, and they can explode. So let's see how he does. Remember, 3 or better is a success. So he's got 3 successes. Let's roll, and then the 1 explodes. Let's see if he gets a 4th success. No, he gets 3 successes. So that's a moderate difficulty. I didn't really set a difficulty level for this, but you know, I'm just looking and saying, okay, it's moderate. I think moderately that would be fine. He sees coming towards their campsite. It must have detected the heat, and I can show you a picture of this miniature. I haven't had a chance to use this one yet. It's not really all that mini. You can see it's sort of robotic and slashing here. And this creature is coming right towards their campsite. So he goes back and he whispers, oh, we've got to get ready. This thing is coming. This may be the thing that they've seen. And Wayne says, of course, yes, we must take care of this. Okay, so I'm going to just do standard initiative here, assuming this thing comes out into a clearing. And let's see, standard initiative is difficulty level 2, and whoever wins gets to act before the opponent. So let's see how that works. So Wayne has an agility of 3 dice, so he needs 2 successes to go before the bad guy here. Or the big guy, anyway. Yes, he gets his 2 successes. How about Steven? Steven gets 2 successes too, and his agility was only 2, so let me re-roll that to be fair. Nope, 2 successes, so that's fine. And Dickinson's agility is 3. He already did his stealth roll, so let's see how he does. Does he get his 2 successes? 4 and 4, so they're all going to get to go before this creature, or whatever it is. They don't know what it is. I've got to write down its hit points here too, so I can keep track of everybody. Wayne is the toughest with 19. Steven's 16, and I think Dickinson's somewhere in between 14. No, he's actually weaker. I guess that works for he's a halfling. They're called harefoot in this system, you know, for copyright purposes. So let's see. We're just going to go in order across. Wayne is going to just come in and try and... Actually, I think he would try to stay back a little bit. Oh, but it's dark, so he's going to come in. I think he's not going to trust himself with an arrow. He's going to come in with his sword, which is 8. 8 dice, if I did my math right. So let's see how many successes he has. Now, this thing seems to be very heavily armored. Okay, I ran them all down the tower here. And let me see what I got. Let's see if any of them explode. Oh. 1, 2, 3 successes. And the creature's armor is 3, so it absorbs all of his blows. This thing is really tough, Wayne says. This thing is awful. Okay, so Steven is going to use his flame bolt. And his spell casting is 7 dice. So he is going to try to hopefully melt at this thing, maybe. Let's see how many successes he gets. He needs more than 3 to do some damage. He's got 4 successes there, so that does 1 point of damage to the creature. Because he's not sure if a sleep spell would work, or, you know, what would happen there. Okay, so, and I'm trying to see what other spells he has that might help him out here. All right, so Dickinson is going to try to use his bow, which is 4 dice. And says he gets to re-roll 1 failed result. I believe that's 1 dice. I'm sure Chad will watch this video so he can do that. In fact, I think, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know, this thing was probably focused on... Wayne being so close, I'm going to let Dickinson try his backstab, which is 6. And there's no separate die roll or damage rolls in this system. So let's see how he does. How many? 6 die, only 1 failure, 5. So that does 2 more points of damage to the being. All right, now it's its turn. And I have to check here. Uh-oh. We're going to say it does 6 possible damage here, but it gets 2 attacks. It looks like Steven and Wayne are closest. So does it hit Wayne? Move my dice around. Okay, 4. That does 2 points of damage, which is good because there's no cleric. Now, they do have healing stones in this game, and they have 3 charges, so 3 possibilities for healing. Does it hit our mage, Steven? And characters have a fair number of hit points in this, so it's not awful. Looks like 3, and Steven has no... Oh, I'm sorry. Wayne has armor, so Wayne's still okay. Wayne's still at full power. But Steven took a little bit of a blow there. And now it's their turn again. So Wayne, again, he's so close, he's got to use his sword. And that's 8 dice. That's pretty much all my D6s here. Any failures? 2 failures. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage there. Okay, but this thing has 3 armor, so it's only 3 damage. So they're slowly working their way through this guy, but he is pretty tough. He might be more set up for a bigger party. Okay, now Steven cast Flame Bolt before, so that's 1 power point. That's how they do the magic here. So I have to see how many power points does he have total. I'm sorry, I apologize for this. I should have done this before. Power points is a wizard's mind, proficiency plus level plus 1. So his level is 2. His mind is 4. So that's 6, 7. So 8. So he has 7 power points left for this day. Okay. So I think Steven is going to... He'd like to protect himself, but I think he better cast that Flame Bolt again and hope for the best on that. So that's 7 dice. It doesn't look like he rolled too well here because he needs more than 3 to succeed. 1, 2, 3, 4. He succeeds a little bit in singeing it. I think it says, man, this thing is tough. Okay. Now let's see, because I don't want to give Dickinson the backstab all the time. Let's say 1, 2, 3 is in Dickinson's favor, that the thing is not focusing on him. 1, 2, 3. Okay, still in his favor, so I'm letting him use his backstab again. And let's see how that goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes. So they're slowly whittling this big guy down. Okay, but now it's the big guy's turn. Okay, against Wayne, no damage, or no, 1 damage. 1 damage against Wayne. Wayne's armor is 2. So Wayne is at 18 HP. He's okay. Then he's going to probably take this swing at Steven. And, of course, I dropped one of my dice. But we'll get it in a little bit. We don't have to worry about that. I can just I have other dice around. So, let's see. He's got to take his swing at Steven there. Let's see what I can do. Oh, there's no dice. There we go. So I need 6. Do I have 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And does he hit? He hits Steven for 2. Because like I said, there's no damage. So Steven is down a bit. But now it's the protagonist's turn. And Wayne says, we've got to do something here. We're having a hard time chipping away at him. You know, he says, Steven, do you have any special spells that might help here? And let's see what happens. All right, so we're just doing the... Well, that was all 8. Yeah, no, 8. 8's okay. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get to roll 2 more because there were 2 6s. So that's 5, 6. So 6 damage, but the thing has 3, so that does 3 more points of damage. So Wayne says, I got a good hit on him. Now Steven's going to try again. They're just trying to chip away at this creature here with his flame bolt here. Now, Steven actually, I think he's going to try something different. He's going to say, you know, he's going to try his open up spell. He's going to try to see if he can unseal. Let's see if that's reasonable, if I can do that. Check in the open up spell here, which is kind of like open doors or other item that has a lid or open. So I think he's going to try and open up the armor here. Now let's just see how many, if he gets any successes or how many successes he gets. So rolling them down the dice tower here. That's pretty good so far. Only 2 failures and 1. So you've got 4 successes and 1 reroll. So that's 5 successes total. So what I'm going to say is, since he's using this open up spell, rather than going right through the armor, you know, he rips part of this away. And they see these odd, like metal, thin metal strings or something inside. They don't know what's going on there. I'm going to rule that that's going to do the full damage, that gets past the armor. I think a lot of the magic spells do that you don't worry about the armor for if you're hitting with magic. So, yeah, that's going to take this creature down a bit more. And then Dickinson's going to make a try here. Now, he got to backstab already, so we'll see again. We'll see if his luck holds out. 1, 2, 3, he's able to backstab. 4, 5, 6, no. 4, 5, 6, no. No backstab for him. So his bow is 4. But he needs all 4 to hit to get past the armor. Let's say the peeling open took the armor down to 2. I think that might be a reasonable call here. I hope Chad doesn't mind me making all these, you know, in media res mods here. And let's see how we're doing here. 6, so 2 points. No, he doesn't do any damage. Wayne is still trying to distract this creature and hit at it. So it's the creature's turn, the being's turn, or whatever it is. And did he hit? He hit for 4, which is good. No exploding. Oops, what's that? No, I'm sorry. He hit for 5. And this one exploded. So 6. Good. Good. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm saying that wrong. That's 6 on Wayne. So that's 4 points, some damage on him. And then he's going to take a swing at Steven. I got to make sure that I'm attacking my own people here, too, to keep things fair. So 1, 2, 3 successes against Steven. All right, Wayne is up again with his sword, which is 8 dice. Like I said, you roll a boatload of dice in this game. If you like that sort of thing, you're set. And let's see how we do here. 1. Oops, there's another dice in there. So, looks like 3 successes, so only 1 got through for Wayne. And then Steven, he was considering casting mirror image, but which a magic image is called in this. But I think he's going just again. He's sticking with that flame bolt because he knows they really need to do some damage on this guy. So now that he's opened him up a bit, maybe he can do a little more damage. And let's see how I did here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 explodes. 7. Oh, that explodes again. 8. 8 total. And then Dickinson notches an arrow here. That's 4. And he needs, let's see how many of these succeed. Let's just see what happens before I start blabbering here. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I wanted 3 out of 4. That's good. This thing topples to the ground. And it twitches a little bit. Its arms twitch a little bit. And it is no longer moving. And Wayne says, oh, that was a rough battle. Very rough battle. And Dickens says, I'll say, holy smokes, that was a rough battle. So I think that Steven's going to be very interested and very curious about this. So he looks in there and let's see. His mind is 4. Let's see if he can discern anything from this. That's one of the things I like about this system, that if you don't really if you don't know a difficulty number, you can always just roll and see what happens. I guess you can do that in many others too. So 3 out of 4, no explodes. That's a moderate difficulty. So I'm going to say he can't get a whole lot of information out of it, but he says, this is like nothing I've ever seen. He says, this is very unusual. He said, I've heard of automatons, but they're always, magically constructed. This is something else entirely. I've never seen things like this. And the workmanship, I don't see chisel marks or anything like that. Oh, well, Wayne says, at least we've taken care of this. And Dickinson says, yeah, maybe we can get a little bit more shut-eye here before we head out. So they get a little more shut-eye, and they do take their turns. Steven already had his watch, just to make sure that there's nothing else happening here in the evening. And then the next day they get up and start to make their way north to where they think this meteor site was, or this crash, fallen star, whatever it was. And they climb a ridge, and they have the map that Sunday Roamer gave them. And this is unfortunately not to scale, so you just theater of the mind. Enjoy the theater of the mind. They can see, like scorch and ripped up earth, and this thing is there. It's landed kind of flat, but it's very unusual. It's like some kind of metallic disc, and it's, at maybe 60 or 70, maybe even 100 feet in diameter. And they're not sure about this. So Wayne says, oh, Dickinson, maybe you can sneak up and take a look. Dickinson says, well, that's what I'm best at. So his stealth is 6 because he gets a bump from being a thief and a bump from being a halfling thief. So let's give him a roll here and see how they do in terms of his successes. 4, which that's actually a difficult roll. So I'm going to say he gets really, really close without being seen, and he sees an opening. Now he can see that this thing seems to be dented. He doesn't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, and there's like black marks on it. So he comes back and he says to Wayne and Steven, there's this thing there. It's really beat up. He said, and you know what I saw on the inside? There's a doorway, but there was this odd red light. He says, I don't know what it is. And Steven says, well, maybe we should heal up here before we go any further. Now, Dickinson is actually just fine. So it's just he and Wayne who would need to heal up. So I want to mark off that we're going to use 2 of the healing stones here. They act a lot like healing potions. I'll just mark that right on his card. And You know, just so I have a record in case I play again or when I play again. Because I don't think I'm going to quite finish this story today, and that's just fine. We'll leave it on a cliffhanger, perhaps. So these do 1d6 plus 1. So Wayne gets 4 back. So Wayne is at 18. I'm going to mark that on the cards, you know, so I don't forget. And Steven also gets 1d6 plus 1 back. Very traditional for a healing potion. 4. Okay, so that brings Steven up to 12. And I'm not sure if you can just burn them all at once or just once per, like once per injury or once per combat. I'm not positive of that. Maybe I didn't dig deep enough into the rules there. Wayne says, well, you know, maybe we better burn that last one. And Steven says, oh, I'm all right. He says, well, all right, we'll keep it in reserve just in case. So they're going to come up a lot closer. And let's see. Dickinson's mind is 2. How does he do? Yeah, 2 successes. I'm going to say that he is smart enough to decide he's going to say, you know, I don't like that red light. So he gets a rock and kind of just tosses it into where the red light is. No roll needed. I can't see that there's any need to make a roll there. I'm just moving some of my stuff around here. And he sees that rock kind of singes as it goes through, almost like it's gone through a fire. And Dickinson says, oh, I don't know if we want to be going through that. There's some kind of problem there. You know, and I don't know if there's a way to, what we can do to turn it off or to stop it somehow. I don't know if they would say turn it off now that I think about it, because, you know, this is sort of medieval. I'm just going to move my cards out of the way here. They're slipping around. So Wayne says, well, maybe if something went through really fast, they wouldn't get as hurt. All right, so here's what I'm going to say is that Wayne says, I'm going to try and just run through really, really fast here. And however many successes he gets, I'll take that off the possible damage. So he's just going to try to barrel on inside. And he gets 2 successes, and it's d6 damage, 3. So he takes 1 hit point of damage here. But he is through it. He is on the other side. So he is inside. And says, well, what do I do in here? And let's see if Steven would have any good ideas there. Steven has a mind of 4. 3 successes. 3 nice successes there. Now, the 5 doesn't mean anything. They don't explode. But I'm going to say, he's going to say, well, there must be a way, you know, there must be a way certainly from the inside to stop the effect, stop this spell effect here. He said, I don't have any kind of, oh, and I got to worry about his PowerPoints too. What's he down from? He was at 8, and I think he cast 3. We're going to say he's down to, but 1 was the open up. He's down to 4 PowerPoints. He doesn't need PowerPoints for this, but he better save those 4 PowerPoints for later. And he says, you know, maybe you could bang around and see what's going on. So that seems like it'd be really a luck roll, more so than anything else. So I'm going to say on a 1, 2, 3, he finds something. That Wayne finds something. He's like pushing around there. 5. No, he does not. So Steven says, well, let me come in and see what I can do. Now his agility is 2. Let's see how many successes he gets. Oops, got to go down the tower. 1 success. 2 successes. And the damage was only 1. So Steven runs through super quick. And does the same thing. Starts kind of tapping on the walls. 1, 2, 3 is in the player's favor. And that red, whatever it was, that red light dissipates. So Dickinson is able to just stroll right in. Oh, thanks so much. And this is all very unusual because it's not made of stone or wood like the other things they're used to. What they see is that it's metal, and even the hallways, the walls, some of them are curved, and they seem to be made of some kind of, I don't know if it's metal or some other thing. And Wayne says, should I touch it? And Dickinson says, yeah. And Dickinson doesn't even think about it. He goes and he touches it, and it's solid. Doesn't zap him or anything. He says, I don't know what this stuff is. And he kind of knocks on it a little bit, and Wayne says, no, stop that. Stop it. You'll alert someone. And they hear a voice from further in. Help. And Wayne says, this could be a trap. He said, Dickinson said, sneak ahead and see what it is, if you would. And Dickinson says, oh, yeah, of course, that's what I do. He lives for this. Okay, let's see what we got. And I'm just going to go with wherever they're lying right now. So that's 4. Yeah, no exploding, but that's fine. 4 is difficult. He is super quiet and is not seen. But he comes back and he tells them, he says, there's someone in there. It's some kind of creature. Like, I've heard of creatures, like made of jelly or something. And I think that's it. But this one looks more, roughly man-shaped. It's about the size of me, in fact. And Stem says, well, I guess we'll have to go in and see and hope for the best. So they approach quietly and carefully, and lying in there. And there is like a chair in here in this room. I'm not going to worry about putting up walls for the whole room. And lying inside there, like next to the chair, as though he is hurt, is this creature. Man-like, and seems to have 2 eyes. And when it speaks, it's like it creates like an opening like below its eyes, and it forces air out. So it's kind of a weird, it doesn't always fully have a mouth, but it's able to somehow form words with the air and the pressure. Help me, help me, please. Crashed. And then they came here. Then they came, and I'm so hurt. And Steven says, well, I think we have to heal it. I don't think it's a trap. I don't know, but we can't leave it being in pain. And Wayne says, well, sometimes we do with enemies. And Steven says, yeah, but I don't feel like this is an enemy here. So they're going to use their last healing stone on this fellow. Let's just see how it does. Oh, 7. That's good. So they get this thing back up, hale and healthy, and it says, oh, maybe you can help me. My ship, it crashed here. And Wayne thinks, this doesn't look like any kind of ship I've seen. Dickinson says, yeah, where's the sails? And the creature says, there were these little green creatures. They came. They took something I need to get off, to leave this place. Do you think you'd be able to help me with this? And that's where we're going to leave it for this session. I've gone plenty long here. So what were we playing? We were playing Delves and Dangers, and I had a good time. I really enjoyed these characters. I hope you enjoyed seeing me roll a whole lot of dice, and I hope that you do some solo role-playing yourself. You can use this system. Like I said, it's also available on itch.io if you prefer the PDF, but I think it's $9.99 on Amazon, so it's the print is very, very reasonable. I like print editions too. And certainly if you want to do solo role-playing, you don't need all this stuff, and you can also just use a system that you like, a system that you already own. You don't have to necessarily go and buy another system, but I hope you'll give Delves and Dangers a look. Again, by Chad Ries. Thanks for joining us, and next time we will finish this story.